Well, welcome everyone. It's good to see such a good crowd. As Jim said, this last year I've been interviewing over 60 chairmen and board members. And what I found interesting is I see emerging a new generation of chairmen and board members and chief executives who know this stuff is important. But the challenge for them is, how do they know it's actually happening all the way through their business? And they also know it's the right thing to do, but as we all know, the right thing to do doesn't always get done when the pressure's on. So I think the best boards you can see are setting really clear goals, and then they're looking to see, are there some metrics to prove that this is actually happening? And so I'm interested to find out whether these metrics can really help us in the boardroom make decisions such as, is the management team actually doing the job we set and achieving the goals we want? Is the management team worth the remuneration? Because we want to pay them for achieving what we want, not just to achieve financial results, but results for the people and the planet. And we've got other tough decisions to make about where to invest in product development in the supply chain. So can these new metrics help us with this? Now, I'm a numbers queen, and when I first started work, my first job was trying to put measures on landscape attractiveness for the road building program. So I'm a bit of a nerd on this numbers stuff, but I've also been a chief executive and I live in the boardroom, and I've realised numbers can drive us the wrong way. So what I'm also worried about is, will these metrics drive us to what we can measure and miss the things we actually also need to be looking at and are really important to achieving success? So that's where I'm coming from, just to put my cards on the table. So let me tell you how this is going to work, because there's a lot of chairs and a lot of people and not a lot of time. We're going to start with each speaker who's going to come up and for 10 minutes tell us about their pioneering metric approach. And then we've got two experts who I'll introduce in a minute, and they're going to give their view of this each metric in turn. So speakers come up, commentators comment, speakers go back, and we have the next speaker. And then when they're all done, we'll all come together to discuss together what we've heard and how we're sort of coming to think about this. And that's hopefully your chance to be thinking, what do you want to ask? Because then I hope to open it up to all of you so we can get a discussion going at this high level between us before we need to then wrap that up, and I'll hand back to Jim at 7:30, because then we can get really into the nitty-gritty when we get to our round tables and start looking at what does this mean in each of the different areas we've chosen. So let me start by introducing our two experts. First of all, Doug Johnston. Doug leads the practice at EY on climate change and sustainability. He's got over 20 years of experience working across sectors and industries, and he's been responsible for some of the most iconic sustainability programs. Doug, would you like to take the stage? And he's going to be joined by Dr. Dorothy Maxwell. She's Executive Director of the Natural Capital Coalition, which is quite an amazing coalition, global, multi-stakeholder, that includes EY, the World Wildlife Fund, the World Bank, and the Global Reporting Initiative, among many others. And what they're doing is they're developing and pilot testing a harmonised framework for valuing natural capital, so we can have some comparators that are consistent across business. And Dorothy has also got over 24 years of experience working not only in some blue chip companies, but also with governments, with the EU, with the UN. So she brings the global and the local perspective. So Dorothy would like to join us on the stage. So we're going to start tonight with Mark Goff. Mark, would you like to make it to the stage? Mark's a little bit incapacitated. I think he wanted the sympathy vote. But it won't stop him. Mark's head of sustainability at Crown Estates, and he's helped produce one of the very first integrated reports. And he's also developed a new approach to measuring total contribution. So Mark, will you tell us more about Crown Estates' total contribution?